What's up, everyone? I'm Ryan from Fireside Yankees. I apologize for the delay that you guys had to deal with. I had some technical issues. We are live here on the Fireside Yankees YouTube channel and on the Twitter as well. If you're here on the Twitter, we'd appreciate if you guys follow us on Twitter. And if you're here on the YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. Sandy Alcantara is going to be the main topic of discussion today. And then we're going to flip over to the comment section and the questions, kind of like we usually do with these shows, where it both opens the door for us to have conversations that aren't just related to the title, and also to be in a situation where we can talk about whatever's on our mind. If something becomes pressing, if something happens, we can discuss it freely. So if you're here, we really appreciate your support. We appreciate you guys showing up and showing out. And yeah, again, like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell if you have not done so already. And let's just jump right into this, talking about Sandy Alcantara. And the rumor starts from Jim Bowden of The Athletic on MLB Radio, where he had stated that the Yankees getting Sandy Alcantara, that is a legitimate possibility. Mentioned that these two teams have had conversations during the winter, which isn't surprising. I mean, the Yankees talking with teams and inquiring with the Marlins, even if you don't believe Jim Bowden, that is a pretty plausible. I'd be stunned if the Yankees haven't called their front office. They had interest in Alcantara at the deadline. They tried to trade for him. I imagine that'll remain the case, trying to at least inquire and see what that's all about this upcoming offseason, and see how that trade conversation can go. The likelihood of trading Alcantara is not as high as I think people would imagine. But yeah, we're going to get right into this, talking about Sandy Alcantara, the season he had this past year. I know he struggled a healthy bit, and we'll talk about some of the stuff that I had heard during the deadline. I know I reported a lot of it, but we'll kind of rehash that and do some redigging and kind of take the time machine back to July, the last week of July, before the deadline passed, where Sandy eventually was not traded anywhere. So Sandy Alcantara struggled a lot this year. There's no other way to put it. He was not on his A game this past year. It was a real grind for him to do anything, to be completely frank. And he didn't miss bats. He couldn't get swings and misses at the rate he used to. His damage contact prevention was not great either. Alcantara struggled to be a good pitcher. I mean, to be completely frank, the key performance indicators from a result standpoint, the things you want to see translate into results, or you want the stuff that you want to see translate into results, result in strikeout rate, FIP, expected FIP, which normalizes your home run rate or your home run to fly ball rate. You want to see a really healthy and really strong damage prevention from a sinker baller. If you're not going to miss bats at a high rate, which, to be fair, Alcantara, even in his peak, never really missed bats at that high of a clip, you still want to see some ground ball abilities or elite damage prevention. If you're not going to miss bats, you better miss barrels. And that did not really happen for Alcantara this year. 45th percentile barrel rate, 23rd percentile strikeout rate, 17th percentile whiff rate, 15th percentile hard hit rate, only a 72nd percentile ground ball rate. So it's not even like he's an outlier ground ball guy. He was a poor pitcher this year. He was in the 22nd percentile in expected ERA at 4.58. He was not good. It was not a year where he was unlucky, unfortunate. It was not a Dylan C situation where both the stuff and the results were there. It just didn't translate into his ERA. The stuff was there. The results weren't there for Sandy Alcantara. He still had a 108 stuff plus. It was one of the better stuff plus scores in the league. But outside of that, it was not very pretty for Sandy. And look, to be completely frank, I think Sandy Alcantara is better than the results showed. I think his stuff is really good, and I think he's capable of being a number 2 caliber starting pitcher. And I like the contract for the risk you're taking, but the prospect capital, that is the final variable here, and that's an important variable. You can't ignore the fact that Sandy Alcantara is someone who, if he doesn't rebound, if he doesn't have a strong year, you dumped prospects, you took on salary, the opportunity cost of not adding a different starting pitcher. There's a lot that you did not do because you traded for Sandy. That is the reality of it. There's a big opportunity cost in the free agent market. You're not going to get another premium starting pitcher or frontline number 1, number 2, number 3 starting pitcher. You're banking on him to be your guy. And it's not to say that Sandy can't be. It's that you're assessing that that's the risk. You understand that is part of the risk. And you've got to accept it. You've got to be okay with it. You got to be comfortable with it. You got to be a lot of things with it because, again, this past year, not the kind of year that you want if you're Sandy, but the second half was a lot more promising. He was a lot better post-deadline. His numbers after the deadline passed, he put up a 3.70 ERA, I believe it is, 3.88 FIP, 3.51 expected FIP. Those are the numbers of a number 2, number 3 starter. I know that Miami is a pitcher-friendly park, but, the run environment, factoring for the run environment, he was 13% better at run prevention, according to Fangraphs. Good strikeout to walk rate. This strikeout to walk rate, 17.4%. That's really healthy for a guy who keeps the ball on the ground at the rate Alcantra does. The thing, again, was the home run rate being high is definitely a concern for me because if location doesn't just affect walk rate, location affects damage contact rate. Think of location, command. Think of these things as it being dynamic. If you're going to miss out of the zone a lot, you're probably going to miss in zone a lot. So let's take this baseball, for example. Throwing a slider, you want to, if this is my face is the box and we're kind of looking at this from the pitcher's point of view. So right-handed batter would be here. You want your slider to end up here. But if it ends up by my nose, that's a home run. And that is poor command. That is where command becomes a variable. And Sandy Alcantara's command was not great this year relative to his norm. His location plus from 2021 to 2022 was 104. His location plus this past year was 101. If we look pre-deadline and kind of compare, and I'll share my screen here so that we can kind of look at this together. But we'll kind of look at the splits here and kind of explain what I'm saying in a way that isn't super nerdy and just hard to understand. So we have his game logs here. We're going to use the location plus. And if those who don't know, it's a metric on Fangraphs. This is all free on Fangraphs, or I believe it's free. I pay for the membership, but I don't think this is paywalled. Location plus, final 10 starts. So this is the stretch where he has a 3.70 ERA, a 3.8 FIP, a good strikeout to walk rate, is pitching like a number 2, number 3 starter. Location plus 104. He was really, this is a really good command. And the stuff plus still really good. Then we kind of look before this. I want to look at this stretch beforehand. 99 location plus. So he was below average at locating the baseball up until the trade deadline. And I think this stretch was actually good at locating the baseball. So let's expand this sample size. 104. And I know the results aren't going to be as good. 4.38 ERA, but underlyings 3.93 FIP, 3.85 expected FIP. Still a solid strikeout to walk rate for that ground ball rate. Point is, as I'm like, what point am I getting at here? His command got better as the year went on. Post-surgery pitchers struggle with command. Post-surgery pitchers struggle with command. I'm going to use Garrett Cole as an example, or not post-surgery, post-injury. Let's use Garrett Cole 2024 as an example. Coming back from the elbow injury, what does his command look like? Stuff was bad, but the location, look, 91 location plus first 4 starts. And what were his results? They were not good. I know for a fact they weren't good over these first 4 starts. Yep, 6.75 ERA, 6.45 FIP, 2.60 home run per 9 rate. Look at that walk rate. That's so un-Garrett Cole-like. And then you look after the fact, we're going to use location plus again. 103 location plus. What is the ERA? 2.67. What's the FIP? 3.08. So location is a big part, and we can quantify location now. So we know what data allows us to do a little more accurately is assess these kinds of things, like command, like location. And so when we look at Sandy Alcantara, the command stunk for most of the year. Is that command coming back late in the year? Is that a plus signal? Is that something that indicates he's going to be better in 2026 than he was in 2025? Potentially. And I think that's the gamble you take. You're taking the gamble that this Cy Young caliber pitcher in Sandy Alcantara, when he was at his peak, uber talented locator, this guy who he knew exactly where to put the ball every single time without fail. This is the kind of guy who you bet on for location. And that's the same thing, the bet the Yankees took with Cole, and that bet worked. It's the same bet they took with Fried, taking a guy who's got elite command and trying to improve the stuff, and the command stuck. Good command guys are guys who I think when it goes down, you can expect it to go back up. You can hope it gets back better. But that's where scouting and player development matter. If the Yankees inaccurately assess that Sandy Alcantara's command got better, or that Sandy Alcantara's command can be better in 2026 than it was in 2025, then we're in a tough spot, because then we're in a situation where the Yankees traded for a guy whose command is all over the place, doesn't have the swing and miss stuff to make up for it. That is where you look at Sandy Alcantara. That's a problem. And when we look at the stuff was pretty much in line with what we're used to seeing. Let's compare the fastball velocity in 2025 and 2023. We can do that here on StatCast Search a little more easily for our eyes. So we're going to take We're going to take a four seam and sinker. We're going to combine those two pitches for Sandy Alcantara. And we're going to compare. We can compare their strikeout to walk rate. We can compare their velocity. Ooh, my terms are all over the place. I apologize, everybody. We can kind of compare that velocity and try and figure out, all right, was it better this year? Was it worse this year? Take a look here. Fastball velocity, 97.4 in 2025, 97.8 in 2023. So stuff is right there. The stuff has not fallen off there. We can look at pitch movement here on Baseball Savant. From a pitch movement standpoint, 2025 is right here. Sinker, 8.5 inches of induced vertical break. He did get more depth on it in 2023, but about an inch in variance from shape is pretty normal. That can happen on a year-to-year basis. Changeup, pretty much, I mean, the depth in the changeup, again, slightly worse, more arm side movement. I don't think that's the reason why he was worse. Slider didn't have as much depth. Four-seamer lost a little bit of ride and added more arm side movement. That might be a net negative for him. I think that actually could result in some poor change or poor outcomes. And you see the swing and miss was really down from the four-seamer compared to some years past. All the results were right around where they are in usual years. But trying to sit here and put all this together, the New York Yankees, and I realized I never shared this tab. I don't think I ever shared this tab. Point is, Sandy Alcantara is someone who can pitch deep into games, who can keep the ball on the ground, who has the ability to be better than he was in 2026. In 2026, he can be better than he was in 25. But location's a tough thing to bet on. It is a tough thing to bet on. It ranges wildly from a year-to-year basis. Location plus is not nearly as stable as stuff plus, which is why location plus is a tough metric to rely on for this. But my synopsis, my conclusion, my TLDR, too long didn't read, is Sandy Alcantara still has the stuff, the velocity, the movement. The question was the command. The command was not as good post-injury, but command is usually not as good post-injury as it is in that scenario. Did Polanco sign with the Yankees? What? What are you talking about? What are we talking about? I don't believe that happened, right? Yeah, okay. I was going to say, I was like, what? Fake news. Okay, fake news. Sorry, guys. Fake news. Yeah, dude, you faked me out, man. You got me faked out. My heart, like, stopped. I was like, what? 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 I was freaked out. Anywho, so that's not happening. Let's keep rolling here. So Sandy, again, Sandy Alcantara is a risk. Just like Tatsuya Amai is a risk. And funnily enough, I think both of the risks there are with command. If the command is not great in the big leagues in 2026, that pitcher's not going to be good. That pitcher's going to stink. There are not a lot of guys who I think can overcome poor command in this league. And it's really funny. I think the league has shifted back to prioritizing things like command and deep pitch mixes. You see guys who throw 5 or 6 pitches. You guys are going to kill me with this Polanco thing. I'm going to go to John Heyman just to, like, I'm not going to ban anyone who does it. Like, I'm not going to do anything of that nature. Yeah, you're a dick. You're a dick. This one got me. This one did get me. This one definitely got me. I was like, okay, no. Anywho, I'm not going to suspend or, like, time out anybody for that. So, you know, I think it's funny. Anywho, sorry. The situation with Amai and Alcantara is that I'm pretty confident that like you can't look at Sandy and you can't look at Amai as like one is clearly safer than the other. There is no safe bet between the two. I think that they're both risks. So we'll see if things end up happening. Well, if things can go the right way for the Yankees, if we can see them kind of get through the offseason and see if they can get reinforcements for the rotation. I'm all over the place. I'm like, that Polanco thing threw me off. Point is, Sandy, Amai, they're both risks. Sandy is someone who I think the Yankees can trade for. Let's kind of dig into the reporting bag real quick. Yankees and Alcantara, deadline. Let's take a time machine back to the deadline. The New York Yankees showed serious interest in trading for Alcantara. They had pretty big talks with the Marlins about that. Spencer Jones seemed to be the piece that the Yankees hesitated on not moving. And I think that's why they didn't end up getting him. So yeah, that's kind of like the TLDR. I'm not sure what other prospects were included, which it's very possible that the way it was told to me is not the way that it was actually went down. I am, I relay what I know. And, at the end of the day, I'm not always going to be right. That is what it is. But we'll see. We'll see how things end up going from here. Let's start rolling and talking about any questions you guys got. Let's get into the question bag here. Let's start from the very top. Let's see. Get a lineup, Ryan, for the love of the Yankees. I don't know if I can get them a lineup. I think their lineup's not bad. They just need to get they just need a left fielder to complete it, and maybe some bench pieces. That would be a good idea. Yeah. More issues than Alcantra had getting. That's good. That's good in response to me having technical issues. I love that, Ryan. I hope you're having a good night. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Appreciate you being here and stopping by. I'm gonna say no to Sandy, but people may say otherwise. Yeah, I think Sandy. Look, it's fine to say I'm not trying to bet on. I'm not trying to bet on a guy restoring his command. Command is very fickle, year to year, very hard to predict. Totally fair. I think that's a more than fair conversation to have. I too would struggle to say that you can convincingly or is the word convincingly? Yeah, that you can convincingly dictate that a team is clearly gonna how can you tell me a team is going to clearly be able to fix someone's command? It's so fluky on a year-to-year basis. It's kind of like it's like hoping that a player's or like a hitter's expected numbers that they can just make up for that in the following year. We don't know if they're going to have the same process. So how can I say they're going to get luckier? It's interesting. It's a very interesting, I think Sandy Alcantara is due for positive regression on the command side, but I don't know. It could easily go wrong, and the stuff is clearly not good enough to deal with not great command. Max Fried can do that. That's the difference between him and Max Fried. Max Fried, I don't know if people are aware of this. I'm going to switch to this tab. Max Fried's stuff is elite. Max Fried's stuff is really good in stuff plus models. And to be fair, Sandy's is good as well. Sandy's right up there, but Fried had a 111 stuff plus. So when the command was not there, it was not like it's not like Max Fried can't get by with average command. I don't think Sandy can do it with average command. And that's a fear. That's a worry. That's definitely a worry. I don't think he can do it with average command. I think he has to do it with great command, and sometimes that can just not be the case on a start-to-start basis. Those are guys who are tough to rely on. Look at the top pitchers in the league. Let's look at just results. Get away some of those. Let's look at strikeout to walk rate, and then let's compare it to ERA. Look at the top strikeout to walk rate guys. Top 10 this past year. Skubal, Crochet, Skeens, Ryan, Wu, DeGrom, Gray, Luzardo, Sanchez, Webb. Those guys are elite. Yamamoto, right there, tied with Webb and Sanchez. Brown, Cease, just got paid $210 million. Fried, the richest left-handed pitcher in the history of baseball. It's strikeout to walk rate is such an important metric when it comes to player evaluations. And I think that when we talk about strikeout to walk rate, Sandy not having a great strikeout to walk rate and needing good commands that get a good one is definitely concerning. Definitely concerning when it comes to trading for him. And I could struggle with that because of his poor command. We'll kind of break that down as we get more questions. Think Sandy Alcantara trade for Jason Dominguez? If the Marlins are willing to do that, I think the Yankees would be willing to do that. Trade for Jones for Alcantara? I think I would. So, yeah. Sorry. We watch a Marlins game at gunpoint. The games that we played against the Marlins I would have to be put at gunpoint to rewatch them. The team has some great pitchers in the minor leagues. I hope they don't let them sit while they trade away good talent for a pitcher they may not need when Cole and Rodon come back. So I said this yesterday. I think they can't rely on Cole and Rodon to come back and be a number 2 starter immediately. So the same thing that happened to Cole when he came back from that elbow injury mid-year is going to happen to him most likely in 26, which is stuff and especially command will be not good when he first comes back. Rodon's command is already shaky. His command's not going to be great when it comes back. So you can have 2 guys post 30, post 32 actually. Both of them are 33 and 36. Post TJS for Cole, post bone spur removal for Rodon. And they're going to have to come back and be plus command guys immediately. And they're going to have to be awesome. And they're going to have to stay healthy for the entire year and have no drop off and stuff. That's a lot to ask for from both of them. Not just one. You need both of them to do it in order for your rotation to be great in the postseason. there are a lot of American League rotations that have as much firepower, if not more, at the top than the Yankees. You look at the top of the Red Sox rotation, Crochet and Gray. That's better than what the Yankees have right now because Crochet is better than anybody on the Yankees right now. Skubal and Mize, I think Mize is not the number 2 starter on the Yankees, but Skubal is the best pitcher on the planet. So that's an advantage for the Tigers. That's advantage Tigers there. It's advantage Tigers there. Mariners, you've got Wu, you've got Gilbert, and you got Kirby. That's a better 1-2-3 than we've got. You look at the Orioles. They've got Rodgers and Bradish. That's a pretty damn good 1-2. Don't think it's better than ours, but it can outperform our 1-2, depending on how healthy those guys are. Looking at the rest of the American League, there's a team that I wanted to mention in this that I completely forgot about. And I was like doing notes for this stream, and I was like, man, the Royals. Reagan's Bubic. There we go. That was a team. Like that's a pretty damn good 1-2. That's like there are a lot of good 1-2s in this league. The Yankees are going to have to make sure that their 1-2 is constantly getting improvements, or at least the rotation, because it's going to be very hard for your 1-2 to compete with the rest of the league at the age that you're at right now. You're an older team. You're an older rotation. The position player group has actually gotten a lot younger, but you're an older rotation. It's going to be really hard for your rotation to keep up with these younger rotations that have the kind of stuff that these rotations have, that have the swing and miss that the Yankees have lost over the last few years. Their strikeout to walk rate was putrid compared to these top American League teams. Look at the strikeout to walk rate as a rotation. Yankees were 16th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 American League teams that are better strikeout to walk rate than you. And I found the team here that I was going to mention. The Twins are not going to make the postseason, but they might have a better 1-2 than you with Ryan and Lopez. The Rangers may not make the postseason. They've got a better 1-2 with Eovaldi and DeGrom, albeit more injury prone, less reliable. So that is where they need to get starting pitching. That's where I'm at. Let's keep going through these questions. I haven't lost faith in Matt Blake. I love Matt Blake. Again, it's just command. Like, how do I put this? There are things that you can control and things you can't control. You can't fully control. Isn't that a funny phrase? You can't fully control command. You can't fully control location. You can do things to train it and make it better, but at the end of the day, it is one of the more high. It's a high variance thing on a start basis. And that can be difficult to hone down over the course of a full 162 season. Better get some pitching soon or the good ones will be gone. I think the Yankees will have time. What if Cole and Rodon don't come back or aren't the same? That's the question I ask. I'd rather take Perez. I think Perez is better, but they're not going to trade him. I've got to admit, I haven't watched a ton of Sandy starts, but if Ryan wants him, sign up. I want him. I think he's good, but I don't think I'm like, he's got to be the top guy or I'm desperate for him. He's on my top 3. My top 3 is Imai, Lopez, and Alcantra, one adjusting for price. That's my wish list. Those 3 guys are my they're number 2 starters. They're not going to kill your farm system. And it's using finances as your way to cushion your farm system. And yeah, this is a really, really important reason why you would want someone like Sandy. It's because he can pitch deep into games for sure. Let's see. It's hard to compare him to a guy like Imai, but how would he compare with him? They're going to have similar projections for next year. They're both high variance guys, really good stuff. Lower arm angle pitchers. Although I think Imai is going to have more swing and miss ability, but Alcantara's more durable, I think. I think Alcantara is just a guy you can trust more to make his starts because he's pitching a 5-man schedule, pitching deep into games. As Ryan noted in the comment here, 6.5 innings per start. He might average a little bit more than that, but that's in the NPB with a culture that is more set on pitching deep into games, number 1, and number 2, an extra day of rest. So Alcantara is doing that shit on that stuff on 5 days of rest. So yeah. I would rather Edward Cabrera. That's a fair point. I think that the injury risk is there. Another guy who his command was a lot better this year. Is that going to hold? Let's kind of look at Edward Cabrera here. Edward Cabrera, really good year this year. 3.53 ERA, 3.83 FIP, 25.8% strikeout rate, 8.3% walk rate, 12.6% swinging strike rate, plus stuff. The stuff is really good. Really good mix. Changeup, curveball, sinker, slider, four-seamer, 5 pitches, at least 13% usage on all 5 of those pitches. That's a plus mix. Plus stuff, plus command guy this past year. But does this command get worse? right? Is this a convincing command year? I'm not entirely sure. That's my risk. Is this what he's expected to do on a year-to-year basis? Is that what he's going to be projected to do on a year-to-year basis? And then cost. He's going to kill your farm system. He's going to blow your farm system out of the water. If you make a big offer, there's another team that might be willing to make an offer you can't match. And that's the risk. That's the risk with him. But the talent's there. Injury risk for sure. 137.2 innings is the max MLB mark. If you account for minor league innings, let's see. Minor league innings, years he's pitching to minor leagues, 22, 28. No, didn't get there in 20. What about 21? Also didn't top that in 21. I think it's only years going over 100. This was an 100 inning season, I think, in 2022, right? Was it? Yeah, it was a 100 inning season. So this is the most innings I think he's thrown in a year. 130. Yeah, most innings he's thrown in a year. I just don't believe he's someone you can project for like 180. You're going to have to project him for like 160-ish innings any given year. And that's a concern. That's a concern. I like Edward Cabrera a lot, but we're going to mention the good and the bad, right? Good and the bad. We always talk about the good and the bad because I'm trying to give you guys as much information. My job is not to tell you who to like. My job is to give you as much information as possible and also provide you my opinion, but give you as much information as possible to form an opinion. It's not to form your opinion for you. It's to give you as much information as possible for that. So for Edward Cabrera, you want to create a pro-con list. Pro stuff is elite, deep pitch mix, improved command, good swing and miss numbers, young, lots of control, cheap, pro. There's a lot of pros here. Cons, injury risk, high trade cost. How secure is that command? How much is that command something you can rely on a year-to-year basis? I need this new season to hurry up. Yankees better sign Tucker and 2 pitchers. I'd be all in on that, man. You know how I feel about that. They might have gotten me because I'm blocked by Heyman. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Tucker, what's up, my man? My boy Jake over here. Tuxuya. I'm in on the Tuxuya offseason. Sign both Amai and Sandy. I don't think they're going to be able to. Well, they have to trade for Amai. They can't. They have to trade for Sandy. They can't trade for. They can't sign Amai. So Amai is a free agent. Sandy is a trade target. Me personally, I think. Oh, it's tough. I'd like to get your guys' opinions here. If you could sign Amai, to the Yankees, if the Yankees could sign Amai to a 7-year, $160 million contract, or trade for Sandy Alcantara and trade Spencer Jones, Ben Hess, and Dylan Lewis for Sandy, would you rather trade that prospect haul for Sandy, or would you rather sign Imai? So I'm going to leave a comment in the chat to kind of clarify what I mean. Tatsuya Imai, 7 years, 160 mil, and that'd be about 22.8 million. Or Sandy Alcantara for Spencer Jones, Ben Hess, and this is the scenario. Here's the scenario right here. I'm going to leave this comment up for a little bit. Let me know what you guys would do in the comment section. I'll shout out the comment that I'm reading and the viewer as well to kind of make it easier while you guys kind of figure out what you would do. Jalen Guzman says for the left side of the Jalen Guzman 7348 says for the left side of the infield, would you mind bringing Gio Urshela back? You know, you're getting amazing defense and the platoon with McMahon, and Caballero can platoon with Volpe. So the reason I'm not really that in on Urshela, and we're going to pull up his 2025 metrics, which were not very good this year, just did not hit very well. Really poor offensive season, 59 games on a single home run. 33 years old, declining athleticism, turning 34 next year. Offensively, let's look at the offense real quick. And then we'll look into the comments for the question about Imai. 70 WRC plus, 615 OPS. I know that his career numbers against lefties are really good. If you ignore these 2 years, which I would ignore his Cleveland years in this stuff, because that's just not fair. But he's more of like a league average-ish hitter in his career. And the last 2 years have been really rough against lefties. So is that a skill deterioration? I mean, look at the power. The power has been awful against lefties. Is that a skill issue? Is that a age issue? Is that a lack of plate appearance issue? I just don't think you can trust Urshela to be that. And then defensively, because if you could imagine at least the bat getting back to where it is against lefties, that's fine if the glove's there, but the glove isn't there. -7 defensive runs saved, -2 fielding run value. He's lost his step. He's really slow now, Jalen. So unfortunately, I don't think that's a really good idea. The Yankee Dem says, I feel like I see a guy like Amaya who has fantastic pitches, competitive mentality, and the potential to be an ace. I get very excited at that idea. Me too. And let's kind of look at the comments here and what people would want to do here. So we've got Amaya seems to be kind of the popular pick at that point. I mean, just sign Amaya is kind of like what people would do if those were the price points, which is fair. That's what I think I would do that too. But I'm not 100% on that. I think I'm partially on that. I would do that, but I wouldn't say it's the definitive right answer, if that makes sense. If not Amaya, prefer Sandy or other starting pitchers like Joe Ryan. Joe Ryan is exactly what the Yankees need from a strikeout to walk rate issue. I do think he's a little bit overrated. I don't think he's an ace. I don't think he's an ace. I think his strikeout to walk rate is exactly what they need, but I think he's a number 2, and I think he's going to be valued as an ace. I think he's as good as Pablo Lopez. I think him and Pablo Lopez are as good as each other, and Lopez is going to cost less in the trade market because of his contract, and that's something that I think is preferable for the Yankees. Maybe Joe Ryan ends up being a Yankee. I don't see it. I don't think he's going to get traded even this offseason. I think that's a next year thing. But again, as we talk about the Yankees offseason, anything can happen. Could Joe Ryan and like Kyle Tucker, would that be an insane offseason? Absolutely. That would be everything the Yankees need and more. And I would be in on that. So I guess I should dig into the Joe Ryan thing. I'll write an article on that probably tomorrow and maybe record a video. But Joe Ryan, definitely an interesting player because big cost acquisition. Don't know if the Twins like what we want. And that's not me reporting that. I'm just saying I don't know if they like what we have or if they dislike what we have, whatever it may be. But Joe Ryan, I think he's a high-end number 2, big cost acquisition, turning 30, not like a young pitcher, but a good one. We'll see kind of how that kind of goes. Let's see what we got. When is the news going to pick up? Says Bryce, dying over here. I'm going to die over here too without news. Winter meetings are in a week, as Dominguez Better has pointed out. Yeah, we did not sign Jorge Polanco. What's up, Brian? Says Isaac. Could the Yankees add Bregman, Tucker, Imai, and Diaz, and trade McMahon and Grisham? It adds about $75 million in payroll, brings the payroll around $330 million. Maybe make money less to start. So I don't think the Yankees are going to sign Bregman, Tucker, Diaz off rip because Diaz and Tucker both have qualifying offers. So that is a lot of draft picks to give up. That's one thing that comes to mind immediately. Number 2, it's not just about annual average salary. The financially, you're committing. Let's say Bregman gets 150. Let's say Amaya gets 150. It's $300 million. Let's say Tucker gets $300 million. Let's say Diaz gets about $100 million. I mean, we're talking about committing $800 million in one offseason. I don't know if the Yankees are going to be committing nearly $1 billion in one offseason. So I don't see this as something that's going to happen. I think if this was, I also don't think that trading Grisham and then not bringing in a center fielder would be a thing the Yankees do. I don't think Spencer Jones is going to be given the starting job out of camp. I don't. I think that would be really unwise as well to build your roster where Jones must be the starter. So I don't think this would fit where they would want to, how they'd want to build their offseason. And I do think it's too much long-term money for them to realistically commit. But maybe they do trade McMahon. I'm not really sure about that. I haven't heard anything to suggest they want to trade McMahon. Yeah, we'll see. I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll see what they end up doing there and who they end up moving. Amaya over Alcantara. Yeah, that Polanco thing was really funny. But that's fair. That's fair. How about Peralta instead of Sandy? I don't know if Peralta, that being Freddie, is going to get moved, but I think it would be a good addition. Like Freddie makes a lot of sense financially. Financially, he's a 1-year commitment. And that's kind of where I think, you could be in a really good situation for the Yankees. You make a 1-year commitment to him. So, yeah. Also feel like a splitter, his splitter, a pitch that is clearly dominant right now would be big for us. Also has that wrong way slider, similar to Savage's slider. And, that's a pitch that, the Yankees, I think, could really use, just that straight dropping pitch. That's something I really think, could help the Yankees a lot. That big dropper, not a lot of lateral movement, a lot of sharp vertical movement. That's how you generate a crap ton of swings and misses. So, yeah. A starting infielder is a need. Volpe, Caballero at shortstop isn't championship bound. Again, I'm not sitting here and trying to tell you that you're wrong. I'm just sitting here and trying to tell you that where we're at with the Yankees is that I personally think that they're going to run it back with Volpe. I think they're going to go back with Volpe because I think they look at Volpe as a guy who can be a strong defensive player up the middle. And while he's not really going to hit, that strong defense up the middle is valuable to them. So we'll see how things go from here. And I'm curious to see how this ends up shaking out. But me personally, I don't think the Yankees, or my understanding with the Yankees is that I don't think they want to move on from Volpe just yet. I don't think they do. I think they got a trade offer for Volpe last trade deadline. Like, my understanding is they got a trade off. Like, someone offered to trade for Anthony Volpe. But they said no, they didn't want that. So, yeah. I see no reason to take on Alcantara's salary when we have Heel, Schmidt, Schlittler, and Warren on cheap rookie contracts still. Again, you need frontline pitching. You need more pitching. You always need to add starting pitching. But I've got to say this, man. Is that Trent Grisham as Superman? Am I blind? I need to put on my glasses. I don't have my glasses on. Dude, is that Trent Grisham as Superman? That's got to be Trent Grisham as Superman. Chat, is that Trent Grisham as Superman? Like I'm not crazy, right? That is him, and that's Trent Grisham as Superman. This is probably one of the best profile pictures I've ever seen in my life. That's Trent Grisham as Superman. It's really good. I like that. Sign both Amaya and Sandy, trade Heel. Again, I don't think they're going to go get both. I'd rather Pablo Lopez than Sandy, but granted, I've watched more Lopez than Sandy. I think I prefer Lopez over Sandy. I'd go Amaya 1, Lopez 2, Alcantara 3. I have earth-shattering news. Justin Jefferson just caught a pass. Dude, whether it's, I think, what is it, Bromer, right? Bromer's who played for the Vikings today, or quote-unquote 9, J.J. McCarthy, they can't buy passing production right now. 9 is horrific. 9 is absolute dog water bad. I mean, he's turbo dog shit. That's what JJ McCarthy is. 9 is awful. So 9 is terrible. 9 is awful. JJ McCarthy is a mistake of a quarterback right now. I hate to be that guy. I really don't like dogging on guys like that, but dude, JJ McCarthy stinks. Holy cow. My Yankees sign Muroteka Murakami, Edwin Diaz, and Tatsuya Imai. I don't see the Yankees signing a first baseman. I don't see them signing a first baseman. Murakami reeks. I would kind of agree. Oh, my thing froze, I think. Baltimore, Toronto, and Boston have all gotten better already. Yankees have not now have to get even better than they thought at the beginning of the trading season. I think they had to have a big offseason regardless. In my opinion, I think it had to be regardless. I agree with your concerns with Rodon and Cole coming back, but there's no shot the Yankees don't let Cole take the bump in game 1 of the postseason. No, I think there's a shot they don't let Rodon take the ball after game 3. And I think there's a shot that Fried takes the ball in game 1. I just do. I think Fried's going to be better than Cole next year. That is not a diss on Garrett Cole. He's 36 coming back from Tommy John surgery. Max Fried's a top 10, 15 pitcher in baseball. Just fundamentally different kind of players. When will Tucker sign? What will he sign for? And what would the Yankees offer that contract? I think he signed for $360 over 10. Not sure they offer that. We talked about the other Marlins pitcher because I saw your comment saying Edward Cabrera. Sign Amaya. I'm in for that. We're going to kind of speed along here. I think this could happen, but I don't think the Yankees want to go big money for Amaya. It could be $7 million less for Alcantra, and you get multiple years of him. Amaya, you'd also get multiple years of, but I think that's fair. That's fair. Do you think the Pirates will realistically move Skeens when his arbitration price kicks in? I think they'll move him when they have no feasible way to extend him. And I don't think that time, I think technically it's happened now, but they're going to wait until 2 or 1 year away from that contract being done. Let's kind of move ahead here because we're going to move off some of my talk. We're going to go kind of towards some more recent questions. Yankee source reported on his Patreon that the Yankees have been very active in the Amaya chase as of yesterday. Have you heard anything new regarding this or other Yankee pursuits? What I know is that the Yankees talked to Sandy Alcantara at the deadline, and I don't know what's going on after that. I know that at Tatsuya Imai is someone they really like. Their priorities have not changed there. I don't know any newfound pursuits. The only thing I heard that was semi-interesting was that Romy Gonzalez was someone the Yankees had interest in. That's something that I heard, that Romy Gonzalez was someone that they had interest in. I heard that from multiple people. So I don't know if they're going to trade for Romy, but they tried to in the arbitration deadline. So not really sure what's going on here. Not really sure what they're going to do outside of pursuing my and try and get a left fielder. Let's see. What else we got? Over under the Yankees payroll for 2026, 335. I'll take the slight under and say 330. I do think the financial, the international investment does factor into this conversation for sure. Whoever left the comment yesterday about Joey Gallo for the bullpen, legendary. Joey Gallo in the bullpen is pretty funny. If he ended up a Yankee as a reliever, that'd be really funny. That's not going to happen, of course, but that would be really funny. Bregman was not offered the QO. Correct. He was not offered the QO, but Diaz and Tucker both have QOs. Now, Bregman, like roster-wise, kind of makes sense, but I don't know if long-term I love that contract. Let's kind of, again, we're gonna look at some data here, folks. We're gonna look at some data here, folks. That's what we're gonna do. I love data. And we're gonna look at Alex Bregman's spray chart, and we're gonna compare it. And yes, I know I saw a comment like Red Bull at 7 p.m. is crazy. And like, yeah, it's crazy, but I'm crazy. Alex Bregman. And I have a lot of work I got to do. We got a lot of editing and recording and preparing for podcast. Myself, Chris, and Jacob should be, and That's Baseball should be back tomorrow. I might be doing on my radio show. I have an interview that's going to re-air with Jacob Wilkins. That's the slip up there. Jacob Wilkins is the Binghamton broadcaster and primary play-by-play for the Binghamton Rumble Ponies. I'm going to have that re-air on a radio station I work at. It's a student-ran station, OWWR, Old Westbury Web Radio. I go to school at Old Westbury. That's a quick plug-in. But I'm pretty sure it's going to re-air this week. I think so. Interview with Jacob Wilkins. Good guy. Really good conversation about student media. So you guys should check that out as I'm loading this stuff up. I apologize. Just trying to load this up here. So yeah, got a lot of work. That Wilkins interview, and then big podcast with myself, ATB, and Chris. Okay, finally have it loaded. There we go. Share this tab. My internet's been really slow today. So let's look at Alex Bregman's spray chart. Now, WOBA is weighted on base average. This is just on batted balls. Bregman, 433 in Fenway, 385 at Yankee Stadium. That's a huge decrease in offensive production. That is not good. So if you just replayed Bregman's season and had him play at Yankee Stadium with half his games, he would have been a worse hitter. And it's not like Bregman was good. Don't get me wrong. Bregman was a paced 4.4 WAR season, I believe. Somewhere in that range, right? Was it a 4 WAR year that he paced for? I know he got hurt during his year. Fangraphs are being really slow today. That's really unfortunate. I've never done this. Okay, here we go. 114 games. Oh, he paced for like a 5 WAR year. 3.5 wins above replacement. 3.5 divided by 114 is times 150. He paced for a 4.6 WAR. He was really good last year. One of the better years of his career. And he's like a borderline Hall of Famer. He's going to, if he has a couple more good years, he's going to be in that 50, 60 WAR range. But he would have hit worse. And if you're taking a 125 WRC plus guy and you're making him worse and you make him a 120, and you've got to bake in some regression here offensively, going from age 31 to 32, not looking good for Bregman if he becomes a Yankee. So, I don't think I'm a big fan of the idea of signing Bregman, and that's kind of where I'm at with him. So, man, that was a really long answer. I apologize. And that kind of answers this as well. Do you think they have any interest in Bregman? Bring back Wandy Peralta. I'm in on that. It's a cheap contract. I think the Padres would be willing to just salary dump him. So, yeah. I think they'd just be willing to salary dump him, right? That's what I think. So, yeah. That's a huge mistake if they continue with Volpe. Look, I think it's a fair argument. I'm not going to sit here. Again, my job is not to give you an opinion. My job is to inform you on what your opinion should be or where your opinions could be at, or kind of like give you information to form opinions. I personally don't think that we're going to see the Yankees move on from Volpe because I think they think he's a good defender. And defensive value is important. It's important. Defensive value is important. It matters. But will he end up being, this is the wrong comment, but it could end up being a mistake in the sense that he could really struggle to hit. The labrum issue could be a real problem. There are a lot of risks here with Volpe. And I think at least the Yankees should be aware of it internally and have an internal option in-house. Anyone in the minor league system throw a kick change? Not that I know of. That's tough because like you have to see grips, and I have to do some. I can't lie. I've got to do some catch up on some scouting with the minor league system. I'm kind of holding off on that until January. The reason for that because usually free agent stuff dies down about around then, so you'll see a ramp up in prospect content. This is a good dead period for that. And you kind of figure out certain things. You kind of figure out where guys are going in terms of the Rule 5, things of that nature. So I'm gonna just sit here and wait until January. Things die down with the rumor market, and then I can sit here and break down the prospect system and kind of look at grips and rewatch film and see if anyone's doing something of this nature with the ball. Like I think it's like this, right? Or is it? No, I think it's the middle finger. And it's like a little kick, and then you throw it. And supinators, they get around the ball. So when they throw it, it's gonna just like kick off, and then it has that drop. So yeah, sorry, really, really convoluted. But kick change, guys, it's like let's actually just get a kick change grip on the screen. I think I have the wrong grip. I'm not good with pitch shit grips. There we go. Hold on. Share this tab again instead. See this? This is a kick change. This is a kick change. So yeah. Anywho, it's kind of rapid fire here. Am I better than Alcantra? Oh, we talked about this. Yes, I don't know why that was a thing. When is Giannis going to be a Knick? I hope the Yankees. I hope that Giannis comes to the Knicks. If he comes to the Knicks, they're winning the freaking championship. Although that's even going to be tough because the Thunder might be the best team I've ever seen. It's November and I'm bored out of my mind is not a reason for the Yankees to make ill-advised moves. I agree. When opening day occurs, that is where, or not opening day, the week of opening day, I will go, oh, wow, yeah, okay, this is a good roster, or they left a lot on the table, and that's not good. Do you think they signed Tucker? I think it's more likely they signed Bellinger than they signed Tucker. That's my take, and that's going to continue to be my take. I feel like trading for Buxton is a perfect fit. Is a perfect Cashman out of nowhere trade. I'd be for it. I love Byron Buxton. Red Sox aren't going to give him to us, that being Romy. They were talking. The Yankees and them had conversations. It was a conversation. That was not a situation where the Yankees called the Red Sox and the Red Sox said, we are not talking to you guys. That was a conversation where they had conversations. And lest we forget, the Yankees traded with the Red Sox in each of the last 2 offseasons. So they'll trade with each other. These two teams will trade with each other. That is a thing that these two teams are not afraid to do at all. Should Cashman be on the hot seat? No, because I think he's going to retire soon, number one. So, like, why fire him? Why do that? Just wait it out. And number 2, I think he's good at his job. I think he's had good off seasons and good deadlines. They just haven't won the World Series. I think that is the thing here. I think he's done a better job the last 2 years than he's done in most of his years. I'm not going to punish him for that. So, I'm not going to punish him for doing a better job and the players not doing their job. Every day I get more sad this team did not try for Corey Seager. They'd have a ring by now. And this is kind of playing off the Cashman point. That's a Hal thing. You should be mad at Hal about that, not Cashman, because it's Hal who sets the budget. I would love Bregman, but not realistic, would agree. I'm afraid of Bregman in Yankee Stadium in the small left field. I doubt he has as high production as a Yankee, just not a position of significant need. Yeah, I don't think Bregman would fit here, and that's the issue, because the personality fits, the offense fits, the player fits, right? A right-handed hitter who's going to produce good offense and is a good defender at third and is a great clubhouse guy. That's awesome for the Yankees, but the offensive fit is bad. Like the spray angle, the spray chart is bad for Yankee Stadium. Who would be the best option for manager if they get rid of Boone or when his contract's up? I think they should keep Cashman. I don't know. Kevin Cash, if he ever gets lured away, I would love him. He was a former Yankee. Ryan, I'm going to be Jason from 161 River Ave. This is just clickbait. Yankees aren't getting Sandy. I don't buy it one bit. I think the Yankees are going to talk to the Marlins about Sandy. It's a willingness for the Marlins to trade Sandy or not. Hector, this is a ball nowhere take. Carantini for backup catcher would be sick. He's older, which is a concern. Like, that's a concern for catchers. Their legs can just kind of go like this at any point. Kalagashioka can't field that well anymore, and that can just go like that. He's 31. He's going to turn 32 next year. Glove also did kind of take a step back already. For fielding run value, -3 this year. Is that a sign of what's to come? I don't know. But offensively, against left-handed pitching, this past season killed him. He killed lefties. 108 WRC plus, 740 OPS. I guess he killed them more last year. I think he's solid. Like, I think he's a good sheet player who helps you. He's a switch hitter. He's pretty equal from both sides of the plate. He's solid. He does a job. I think he's a really solid player. Yeah. Let's see what we got here. Manny would be great too without that massive contract. I don't think, if Manny Machado didn't have that big of a contract, yeah. Tatis isn't being a Yankee though, and I don't think they're trading for Ketel Marte either. So, first off, shout out you. Saludos, mi hermano. ¿Cómo está? But yeah, unfortunately, I don't think they're trading for Ketel Marte. And definitely not for Tatis. Ketel is more realistic than Tatis, though, because Marte could get traded. Tatis is not getting traded. He's not getting traded. Not a chance he gets traded. I'm confused why the Yankees would trade for Sandy when our bullpen sucks. It's trash. It's Doval, Bednar. That's it. Trading for Alcantra isn't smart for the Yankees because I think they should be willing to address all their needs. The Yankees should not have an incomplete offseason. There's no reason to have an incomplete offseason. Don't give me budget. Don't give me payroll. You're the freaking Yankees. I'm not asking you to spend $380 million. I'm asking you to spend like $325. I'm asking you to spend enough to win the World Series. That's all. That's all. It's not a big ask. Simply not anything special out there to upgrade shortstop. Yeah, I agree. Nothing out there to really go, wow, this guy makes you so much better. Everyone's saying Bichette, but that guy's slow already. Who's to say he doesn't regress physically and struggle next year? Who's to say he doesn't get hurt like he always gets hurt? A lot of people have these conversations of like, oh yeah, you just got to sign this guy, and clearly he's going to make you better, and X, Y, and Z, and they don't actually think it out. People love the idea of like Corey Seager until they trade for Corey Seager. He's expensive and he's missing 50 games a year. That's when they'll love Corey Seager until it happens. And I'm not saying that to say you shouldn't want Corey Seager, but when I see people say an obvious signing, an obvious one that an obvious trade they should make right now, an obvious signing they should make right now, people get sold on names. People get sold on names, and that's okay. That's fine. But I don't know. People bother me with that stuff. People bother me with that stuff when they don't think it through. They got to think it through with these kinds of players. Let's see what else we got. He's not overrated. They're not going to get him, but he's not overrated. He's a dog. That guy's elite. Will we have a left fielder by the end of the winter meetings? I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I've got to tap in a little more. I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm a little tapped out over the last week. I haven't really been focusing. Thanksgiving's kept me completely out of the loop on information. I've been obsessed with things that are not work over that break. Even though I have been recording, it's just you get caught up in other things. Bringing back Bellinger changes nothing. Yes, that's fair, but like I also think last year's team. How do I put this? The Yankees. This is not like a reoccurring Yankee core. I believe it was 8 of the 13 players that were on the ALDS roster, or the position players. 8 of the 13 or 8 of the 14 were first-time Yankees in the postseason. There were a lot of new faces. There's not a lot of continuity on this roster, so I don't believe that we need to be like, we should not, the sins of the 18 Yankees, the 2019, 20, 21, 22 should not be held against the 25 group. The 2022 Yankees have 2 position players from that team that were on the 2025 ALDS roster. That is Judge and Stanton. So again, it's not that you need to love that they're running it back if they do run it back. It's that I don't think we should be holding the sins of those teams against these new guys. Bellinger should not be looked at a certain way because Gary Sanchez couldn't get the job done in 2020 because he wasn't a great postseason hitter. Jazz shouldn't wear the sins of Starlin Castro. Chase Headley should not have any bearing on how you view Trent Grisham. Those kinds of things, where these are not the same Yankees who you went to war with against the Astros. Again, only 2 of these guys were position players on the roster and got spanked by the Astros. So it's a new group. It's a new group, and I think that is where it's a little different. Pitching-wise, can't run it back, though. Got to go out and get some big additions, I think. If the Yankees don't get Bellinger, Jarren Duran is the one I want over Tecker. LA Yankee King, I freaking love you sometimes, man. I really do. I'm sorry. Jarren Duran over Kyle Tucker's psychotic take. Jarren Duran is like the number one. He's the number one like off-field headache that doesn't have like a criminal charge to him. This guy is like a head case. This guy's a complete head case. Red Sox fans are done with him. They're done with him. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would not be getting Jarren Duran and putting him in New York. Maybe it's after 2026. Maybe. We'll see. Yankees should swing a trade for Nico Horner, Ian Happ, and Miguel Amaya. They're not getting those 3 players from the Cubs. And the Cubs are not taking, I think the Cubs would ask for way more than this. But we'll see. Maybe the Cubs trade one of their rentals, though. I would love Nico Horner. I would love Nico Horner to play shortstop for the Yankees in 2026. That would be sick. Ideal package, Jones, Hess, and like a lesser prospect. So that's my 3-man group. Don't want them to trade Jones over J-Dom. You want them to. Yeah, that's fair. I don't care who gets traded of the two. I just care that they make a decision on the two. So, yeah. Romy Gonzalez is a dog. He's a dog. Dude, he's a dog. He is a dog, Bryce. He is a dog. He hits the ball hard. He's really good against lefties. Romy Gonzalez is a dog. He would be a really good bench piece for this team. Really good against lefties. I love him. Love him, love him, love him. Donovan Solano, he's just old. That's my only fear with him. He's old. A younger Solano, yeah, I'm in on it. He's just old. He could be terrible in 2026, just because of age alone. Mackenzie Gore, stuff is great. Price tag of acquisition is going to be high. Chance he's not healthy and or just isn't very effective in 26 is there. And I think that Gore is someone who's less stable than the other options, and that is a little bit concerning. If only Isaac Paredes wasn't on the Astros, yeah, it'd be sick for us in terms of like profile, but it's the same thing as with Bregman. Like the offensive fit is not great here. He's not going to hit. He'd lose home runs playing here. It's a deeper left field, and he pulls a lot of it to like left field. And not that he would suck here, but I don't think he'd be perfect here the way that people may think. And I used to really like him. I still like him, but I don't know how much I love the fit. Hope we get Tucker Namai. I do too. If not us, then who for Tucker? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't, but it's not even if not us. If who? Who's really going to be it, right? Who's that team for Kyle Tucker? I don't know. I think that's going to be interesting to kind of monitor throughout the offseason. Need to upgrade the infield, trade McMahon, and upgrade third with someone who can hit. Okamoto will be my number one choice. I would love it. I just don't see it happening. Ignoring Judge's elbow injury is a wild approach. Look, I'm concerned about it to a degree. Do I think that Aaron Judge needs surgery on his elbow? I thought he did. Nothing has come out to suggest he still needs it. So, hey, I could be wrong, but I'm not going to – it's going to be in the back of my mind. It won't be in the front of it, or I won't be occupied with it, but it'll be in the back of my mind. I'll think about it if he grimaces after a swing or something for sure. What was the biggest miss for us? Harper, Seager, or Soto? Harper, because that's the best contract of the group. Harper's like the dumbest miss of them all. It didn't even make sense. It was the stupidest thing the Yankees have ever done is miss on Bryce Harper. He was shaking his ass to be a Yankee. He was like, I'll play center field in Yankee Stadium. Do you guys remember when the Nationals came to the Yankees to visit the Yankees for a 3-game set, and Bryce Harper played center field? He played center field. You're like, hey, you need a corner, you need a center field? I'll play center field. I'll do it. He was shaking his ass to be a Yankee. Machado's not is a good call, Brian. Really good call. Machado's a tough miss. But Harper was shaking his ass to be a Yankee. With Seager, you can at least argue he got 325, I think. Let me check the contract again. Seager contract. I think he got 325? 325 over 10. There's no taxes. You could argue that he would have had to you would have had to pay him more than that to get him to come here, because the spending power of 325 in Texas is better when you factor in for taxes. And yes, I remember this. He played first base. He shaved his face. He told the Yankees without directly telling him, I want to play here. I want to be here. Please sign me here. He mentioned in an article, in an interview, I wanted to be a New York Yankee. One of my dreams is to be a New York Yankee. So yes, Harper's the biggest miss, because you cannot guarantee that Seager wants to be on your team. You cannot guarantee that 325 would have been the same. You might have had to offer him 350 to make him come over to you guys to just make the money similar. And for Soto, I mean, he might not have also wanted to be here. That was the dumbest thing the franchise has ever done. A player shakes his ass to be on your team and you don't sign him. The dumbest thing the Yankees have done in the last 20 years. Not close. It was so stupid. And I've got to be honest with you, that's a Hal thing as well. I know, yes, Cashman cited it. And you know what? It's because Hal told him, we're not paying for an outfielder. We're already paying for outfielders. Look at our budget. We're not paying that money. That is where I say, again, you look at Brian Cashman. He took the hit for something that Hal did. And that's kind of my point when people go like, fire Hal or fire Cashman. Cashman's the asshole. Cashman does this and that. His ownership in Hal Steinbrenner, his boss, is the reason why that didn't happen. Oh, I think they were saying back then in 2018 we needed a first baseman. But if you're referring to like people saying we need Murakami or whatever, I agree. Right? Why would you ever want a first baseman on the Yankees right now? You need anything but a first baseman. That guy is a stud, that being Ben Rice. The issue is they didn't pass on Freeman. Freeman, I don't think wanted to be a Yankee, from my understanding. I don't think he really gave the Yankees a fair chance at signing there. And also, at least you could argue it's a trade. You don't know what it would have taken, all that stuff. Harper was a free agent. Like, I don't think there's anything comparable to the Harper thing. Maybe you want to argue Machado. Machado is, I think, a better argument than Seager, because I think Machado also would have wanted to be here. But what gives me the nudge for Harper is that Harper so clearly wanted to be a fucking Yankee, and they didn't give it to him. That is so unforgivable. So unforgivable. Like, I think it's completely fair to never let it go until the Yankees win a World Series. I think it's completely fair to never let it go. Like, I get annoyed, like, sometimes when people just mention it time after time again. Like, every time the Phillies win a game, if you're mentioning Bryce Harper, like, okay, dude, like, that's a little much. But if you never truly let go of it until the Yankees win a World Series, that is my mentality. I will never let go of it until they win the World Series, because that was so bad. And I think that so clearly cost you a World Series. Anywho, this was also bad. There are some really bad, like, there are some like dumb pass-ups. This is a insane bag pull. This is an insane pull. This is bag work right here. Yes, this was so dumb. They traded for Josh Donaldson and IKF, and the Twins proceeded to sign Correa to a deal that he opts out of immediately. And if you look at what Carlos Correa did that year in 2022, he put up a 139 WRC plus. He played shortstop, 22 home runs, 366 on base. I'm not saying they win the World Series with Carlos Correa, but shit, dude, you don't know what they do if they have Carlos Correa on that team. You don't know. You don't know who they sign after 2022 if they have Correa. I'm just saying. Passing on Corbin was a miss. Just kidding. Hey, maybe you win the World Series with Corbin. I think Corbin's objectively a good signing because they won a World Series and he helped them get there. That's my opinion on it. I know people don't 100% feel that way, but that's how I feel about it. Just trade for Sandy and Skubal. Call it a day. They're not getting Skubal, folks. But we're going to start wrapping things up here for those listening here on Fireside Yankees. I really appreciate you guys tuning in and giving us the support. Like, it's crazy. We're getting so many viewers on both the YouTube and the Twitter. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, turn on that notification bell, all that stuff. Also, another note, if you guys can't, I don't know how the height points feature work. I'm going to search it up, kind of do some video research here. If you guys can find a way to press the height points and give us some height points, that'd be great. I'd really appreciate that. And yeah, so I'd really appreciate that. Get some final questions in, though. Oh my God, dude. Yeah, the defense. I forget that IKF's nickname with the Yankees became I Can't Field. I don't know if you guys remember that. I Can't Field was the abbreviation, and it was only with Garrett Cole. With Garrett Cole, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa could not field the baseball. Anybody else? He was actually a pretty good, solid, like, good is the wrong word here. IKF was a solid defensive shortstop if you just remove Garrett Cole games. He was awful whenever Garrett Cole pitched. You would guarantee. And in the ALDS, game one, the first play to him, he boots it with Cole on the mound. IKF was like hilarious when Garrett Cole was on the mound. But yes, I think that Correa is a bad miss. At least the first Correa contract. The other ones, they're pretty happy they didn't sign those. First Correa contract was a miss. Harper contract, probably the biggest miss. I don't think Tucker would go up there with Harper for me because I think Bellinger's better than a lot of other players. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think Tucker is as good of a free agent as Harper was, but I think Tucker's really good. And I think Tucker could be a miss on the level of like a Matt Olson, where like you go, wow, we could have gotten him and that really sucks. As the contract goes down, or as the contract value goes down, it becomes more of like oh boy, this could be a tough miss if they don't sign him. So, yeah. And my boy Chris here, Chris riding off the waves of OSU, the Buckeyes beating up on Michigan. First time, I think, since 2019, right? I think that's the case. And gotta feel good if you're Chris. Chris, we'll be talking very soon. We'll be talking on this podcast very soon. My boy Chris, you guys, I love Chris, guys, and I know you guys have come to love Chris and welcome him into our FSY family. And I really appreciate that of you guys. Feeling good, back to Yanks. Hey man, Hey man, hopefully the Yankees get a title. I mean, the Yankees technically also had a big rivalry victory when they beat the Red Sox, but last thing that's missing is a title. Last thing that's missing is a title there. Tucker signing this week, dude. If that happens, that'd be great. I don't know if that's necessarily the case here. Expect pre-winter meeting moves this week. I'm sure you can get at least. I don't think it's going to be completely quiet all week, right? Oh my God, dude. I remember that. And it was almost a home run too. And Glaber ends up walking it off. And that's the game. That is the Miles Straw hates the Yankees game. That's Miles Straw hates the Yankees game. That is the Miles Straw Yankee crowd game. Which, look, the Yankee crowd's in the wrong for if they said like some really awful things. I kind of like don't remember the full details of that, but I know that was not pretty. But that was the Miles Straw hates the Yankee crowd game. Sleeper doesn't have Ben Rice as the top 10 first baseman. That's stupid. Just not even. It's so dumb. We had Shane Robinson in right field for 2018. That was 2018. We didn't need Harper. That's pretty funny. Do you think the Yankees will win a World Series before 2030? I hope so. All right. I hope so. So, yeah. But hey, we're going to start wrapping these up here. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Bucks and trade. I'm in for it. Appreciate you guys so much for tuning in here on Fireside Yankees. Inspired today by Lane Kiffin will be immediately leaving the channel that goes with Pete Simonetti. Dude, that Lane Kiffin shit is crazy, dude. You leave Ole Miss mid-season while you're having a great year, playoff caliber year. I think are they going to go into I don't know if they announced the college football playoffs, but that's hilarious. Like that whole scenario is hilarious. Yes, that thing. Yes, that was the game that IKF knocked the ball off of Class A and then a rocket. The Yankees ended up walking it off. But yeah, we'll wrap things up here. We'll see you guys in the next one. They'll make the playoffs. Yeah, I imagine. I just wasn't sure. Chris. I'm not that tapped in on that. But we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. We're going to have some recorded video stuff. I might go live tomorrow. That's TBD. That just depends on my schedule. I'll kind of give you guys the early notice, probably around midday. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Love you guys. Peace out.